And I'm telling you, I'm running down that river and I'm like ow.
Ladies and gentlemen, he is a two-time Classic qualifier, a Bassmaster Open winner, a Bassmaster Elite Series Pro that let me open-handedly slap him in the face. Kyle Patrick joins me this week on...
I'm Bob Cobb from the Bassmaster. Welcome to Mercer.
Welcome one, welcome all, friends, family, freeloaders, fishing freaks, and of course, you, my humpers. Happy hump day to all of you, and welcome into the Awkwardly Honest Fishing Podcast that goes by my last name, which is Mercer. This is the 270th edition of the Mercer Podcast, and I hope wherever you're watching or listening from, that life is treating you well. It is a wonderful time of year. I hope you are getting out there and taking advantage of the weather because it's prime time for me. I mean, my day decisions are decided between should I swim with fish or should I actually try to catch fish? And it's a pretty good plight to deal with. Thank you for tuning in once again. It amazes me. Like sometimes, I mean, I roll those intros out, but sometimes I stop and think and I'm like, there's 270 of these. Like that's a lot. I mean, I'd say officially, with the exception of my wife, we're in the middle of the longest relationship I've ever had in my life. Second longest relationship I've ever had in my life. So thank you. If you're new to us, thank you. If you've been here for all 270 of them, thank you. Thank you for choosing to tune in each and every week because let's face it, there is a plethora of fishing podcasts. There's a plethora of podcasts out there. And the fact that you guys choose to tune in week after week does not go unnoticed, and it does not go without saying thank you. I try to thank you by responding to as many comments as possible. And I know I say thank you in those, but sometimes it doesn't feel powerful enough. So honestly, thank you all. This is going to be a fun show because we are talking with a dude who, well, has limitless personalities. I mean, I feel like I kind of get him to a certain extent because you hear the words coming out of my mouth, but my mind is always somewhere else. Like when I'm on stage and I'm introducing somebody or I'm calling it away, you'd think I'm totally focused on that, but I have really bad ADD and I'm always all over the place. And I feel like he is too. So that's maybe why I kind of get him. But this is a unique one. Because if you had have told me that, when I was a little kid, one day you'll be able to slap an Elite Series Pro, which the Elite Series wasn't even a thing, but a top Bassmaster Pro in the face, and they will line up for it. It doesn't even make sense. But the reason I gave him a slap in the face is no different than you guys. I'm sure you spend a little time on the internet and see people saying things and doing things. You're like, that dude just needs a slap. And I didn't mean it in a bad way. I meant it in a good way because I feel like Kyle Patrick has so many things going for him, but it's so easy to get inside your head. And this isn't just a pro fishing thing. This is a life thing. This is all of us deal with this in every single way. I mean, this particular podcast, 270 episodes, but I bet you for 270 weeks before I started this podcast, I thought about doing it. You get in your head and you let it derail you. And I feel like in a lot of ways, Kyle Patrick let certain things derail him. And the whole slap thing is a joke. We get into it. We talk about it, but he has overcome a lot of weird things in the last year. I mean, his career seemingly was on cruise control, was qualifying for the Classic every year, gets bit by a tick. His heart, I don't know the technical words for it or anything that happened. We had a whole podcast about it a year ago if you want to dig deep into that. But basically, his heart grew, it expanded, it swelled, and he was basically put on bed rest. So while everything seemed on cruise control, something as simple as a tick bite derailed him. And that is the truth about life. All of us have that one little thing that can happen, that one little phone call that can change, that one thing that can just send things totally spiraling in a different direction. And we're all very lucky to avoid that. But sooner or later, something happens. And that something happened to Kyle Patrick. And the question is, how will he overcome it? I think if he looks at everything that he has in his side, he'll overcome it well. I mean, we're talking about a dude who is blessed with many, many talents and abilities. And it's weird because when you have a private job, I think everybody goes through these struggles in a private job and you don't get to see it. You don't get inside their head. But as a Elite Series pro, we shove a camera in your face and you got to make answers. And if you're somebody like Kyle Patrick that's so verbally out there, sometimes people are taken back by it. But we get into a bunch of stuff in this conversation, and I think it's a pretty good one. I think you'll enjoy it. So without further ado, let's travel all the way to Cooperstown, New York, and hook up with a man aptly named the Fruit Bat by Mark Zona. I mean, a dead-on nickname because, I mean, he was called that because he fell in the water and he was trying to, like, crawl up the wire of his trolling motor, which makes no physical sense. So he was the Fruit Bat, but he is the Fruit Bat because he's like here and here and here and here, and he's all over the place. But we try to nail him down in the next hour and have a pretty unique conversation about a human that lined up to get slapped. Kyle Patrick. Kyle Patrick, I got to tell you, there's things I've done in my life. Like, I consider you a friend, but there's things I've done in my life that I never thought I'd do in my life. But if you had told a 12-year-old version of me that one day you're going to work for Bassmaster, and it's going to be okay to just open-handed slap a man, not once, not twice, but 3 times in the face.
Every day.
And you'd line up for it. By the 3rd day, you were like, Father, can I have another?
Dude, that 4th day slap. I was so hyped up in the morning. I was like, yeah, let's ready to go. And I'm telling you, I'm running down that river and I'm like, ow. Ow. But hey, it worked.
It was Championship Sunday. Had to, I mean, we were surrounded by camera crews. I mean, I was in a bad position. I had to bring
You had
something.
to. You did.
Yeah. It seemed to work, though.
I mean, I needed, what's crazy, I needed that.
You did.
Like, people don't realize in bass fishing how important, like, one tournament or one fish is. Not for, like, the points or, like, AOI, but just your, like, mental focus and, like, aura. One fish, one tournament is huge. Like, it could be the difference. I truly believe there are many tournaments that have made someone's entire career. Like one tournament and their whole career goes on a different trajectory than it would have. I'm a believer in that.
And it all starts with one bite. Like, you get one bite and you're like, whoa, that, and and that leads to the next, and it just builds that positive momentum. And it all started with a slap.
I was about to say, for me, it started with a slap. It did.
Well, I've told you this, but the slap came from a good, like, dude, one of the things I love about you is you're just a very up individual. At times you think that there's no way a human can be this up without chemical enhancements of some sort or pharmaceutical enhancements.
Right.
But you have not been. Like, I'm watching your YouTube videos. I'm watching your social. And, dude, I feel like I'm watching Nicolas Cage in Leaving Las Vegas. Like, I mean, you're not quite there, but you're just like, it's just not. I'm just not catching him.
I know, dude.
And while I watched that, I was like, that dude has so much going for him. Like, and don't get me wrong, tournament world is not perfect. There's things that can get better. But I'm looking at you and I'm like, marketability wise, you have a lot going for you. Success wise, you have a lot going for you. you're about to get married. You've got all this going for you. And every time I tune into your social media, you're just like, and so while I watched that, I was like, I'd like to slap the shit out of him. And then I saw you. Like it wasn't planned, but I said, I need to, and I did. So
and I loved it. I loved it. And yeah, it just summed up, like, that was the turning point for me, really. Because it is hard. People don't, like, it is really hard. Like, I was in such a dark place. Like, lying in my bed for 3 months is worse than torture. I would have rather been pledged by the worst fraternity for literally 2 months straight than have been lying in bed for 3 months watching Game of Thrones. Like, I would have done anything else but do that because it just messed with me, dude. Like, bad.
But why did it stay with you when you got out of bed?
I don't know. I think a lot of it was a lot of, like, still focusing on, like, my heart. Like, it's fine, but my mental, like, I'm still like for a long, like, even at Gunnersville, it was weird. Like, I was like, oh, sweet, Elite Series is starting up again, but I'm like, I don't know if I'm ready to like I couldn't just go all out because I was still, like, at that tail end of, like, mentally recovering. Wasn't quite there. I dipped my boat in. My boat stuck to my trailer, and I'm like,
it's a sign.
I'm like, dude, I'm, like, hardly even ready to be out here. Can we please have a normal tournament? Whatever. And, like, had a below average finish there. I should have had a better finish, but I was basket case out there, and I think when you're not mentally there, you're never going to fish well. And so that just, and a lot of times, like, once you start kind of not fishing well, it adds on top of your bad mental juju. And it just was it was a combination of being still anxious about my health things plus not catching them. And it just spiraled me.
Man.
But I think that's just I'm sure you see it with guys who get, you see it with guys that get
other
injuries
sports.
Yeah. They hurt their, dominant, foot or hand or whatever. And, like, they're just not the same for a little bit, even though they're back out and technically full strength.
Yeah.
Because you're always thinking about, oh, well, what if I twist my knee wrong now? Or what if I, what if I do this? It's so. Yeah, but we're back. Whatever.
No, you do see it in other sports. I mean, this coming weekend, not to compare you to this guy, but Conor McGregor is going to fight for the first time in 5 years. He brought an insane break in his leg. Yeah. And he's tested it, and it's titanium and whatever. But until he takes a few real in-game shots, he's not going to know. And I think that everybody, you see that with every athlete in different areas. Yeah. And it made it worse because it started off a little slow. Do you think that was mental? Why do you think you've had because we haven't seen you have a tough season since you joined the Elite Series.
Yeah. I think that's good for me too. Like, I think, first of all, I talked about this with a couple of guys on the Elite Series. Like, I think, there's two parts to this. A is the mental side of coming back from a heart. And as everyone knows, like, the heart's no joke. Like, it'd be one thing if I injured, like, something where I was like, oh, like, I broke my leg. I can't fish. Like, and then once it's better, it's better. The heart, it's a mental injury just as much as it is physical, because you don't know. You don't know if it's either you're good or you're bad. And so, like, that weighed on me where it's like, I could be not 100% and I just don't know it. And you think about it a lot. every little skipped beat, so there was that. But I also think, and I'm a pretty honest guy, like probably to a fault at times. I think a lot of it had to do with, especially the first year we were on our class was on the elites, like the schedule lined up just so perfectly to what we had fished for the last 2 years. I mean, we started off at Toledo Bend. We had just been to Toledo Bend in the Opens. It was like, dude, like, I mean, we got out there and it was like, oh my God, like we're going to throw a minnow and blast them, right? Like on bait, right? It's like, and then fork, it was basically arguably very similar fishing. And then we moved, like we had been to all the Harris Chain, like we had been to like 3 or 4 of the lakes on the schedule. There was forward facing sonar allowed. I don't think forward facing sonar had, I don't want to say it hadn't caught up, but like there were certainly less guys really dialed with it then than there are now, for sure. Not that, but you know what I'm saying? Like people didn't know as much, like the Sakamata shad, like all this stuff. Like people knew about it, but they didn't like implement it like they do now. So I think that first year was like, it just lined up so perfectly for the way we had been fishing in the Opens for 2 years. Obviously, it's a little bit easier to have a good season when you're kind of just rolling and it, you know, it's like you play the 8 golf courses over and over and over. And then they're like, oh, by the way, your PGA Tour career start is all 8 of those golf courses again. You're like, yeah. Oh, well, I know there's a sand trap here and there's 2 back there. So I'm going to lay up, you know, so there's part of it was that. And then, yeah, I think the forward facing sonar being 50-50 definitely, I mean, it was a factor, or it is a factor. I mean, for 6 years now, we've been told like forward facing sonar. Like Bassmaster was all in on forward facing. Like, it's so amazing, blah, blah, blah. That's all. I mean, the coverage was basically, this is so cool, forward facing sonar, for 6 years straight. And so we all got very accustomed to it. So when you take something, a technique or whatever you want to call it like that, and you tell guys you're not allowed to use it in these tournaments, regardless of whether you can catch him or not with it. I mean, look at Trey McKinney. He's doing an incredible job, like just having everything roll off his shoulders. We've talked about that. It's incredible. Like, but other than people that are like Trey, which is very few because it's impossible to be that consistent, it's hard to go to a lake you've never been to and without forward facing sonar, you know, put together top 10s, top 20s. Like, it's just harder for everybody, but it is harder, especially for someone like me. Like, I don't have the experience that a ton of these guys do on a random, like the Arkansas River. Yeah. Like, I didn't pre-practice it. So like, that's on me. But like, there was also some things that I was dealing with that made it so I couldn't really pre-practice. So I think it was just a mix of those 3 things, you know, and it just bothers me too. I think there's a little more pressure in the tournaments without forward facing because you're like, man, I know I can catch him without it. I'm 29. I was 29 yesterday. I turned 29 yesterday. And like, I've had, you know, a solid 15 years of fishing without forward facing sonar or more. But like when they take it away, it's a weird thing. It's like, it's mentally different and it's a mental game. So I think it's just a combination of those things, you know?
Today's high-tech fishing world can be a real pain in the neck, especially if you're running the wrong mounts. Beatdown Outdoors, they bring the graph to you. And they support this podcast and care enough about you to make this a short ad read. Check out Beatdown Outdoors. Now back to the show. Yeah, it definitely has put pressure, and I think on both ends. Like if you're a guy who's proficient with forward-facing sonar, you feel a little more pressure on the non-forward-facing sonar events. And vice versa. Like if you are a non-forward-facing sonar guy, traditional angler, you feel a little more pressure to show up on the others. You know, you're feeling pressure on both, but it's definitely changed things. Right. What is what stands out to you? Like, I mean, I've always equated it to, and it's ironic because earlier this year, it happened to me. I've always equated to like if your backup camera just stops working. Like we all used to be able to back up and hook up to a trailer without a backup camera, but I literally had mine go out, and I'm like, I don't even know how to do this anymore.
Yeah.
Is that what it felt like?
A little bit, in the sense that like you're out on, you get thrown in a Gunnersville, and I'm like, man, I know how to do this, but like I want to go use forward facing so badly, and I can't. But what's weird is like at the Pasqua tank, other than that 1 8-pounder I caught, every other fish was on a piece of structure on a bridge, and I was paralleling with a swim bait. Like I didn't need it, but I had it. Just like knowing that I had the option, it makes me, and I mean, I'm slowly getting out of this, but like, it just makes me like fish without thinking about anything else. And I got it. That's part of the thing, is I have to figure out how to change that. But it's just a mental thing. That's all it is. Yeah. Like you said, like we know how to back up a boat. That's a great analogy, because it's true. Like we're like, you use a backup camera, literally without question, it's just there. Like the minute you put your truck in reverse, boom, you're looking at your backup camera. And then someone takes it all away and you're like, whoa, I guess I need to line this up in my rearview mirrors. Like, I don't know.
I was 4 feet from the hitch, dude. I mean, it was shocking how far. Like, and then I got out, and it was when we were in where were we? We were in Mississippi. And I got out, and I'm like, now I'm only 2 feet. And thank God Jackie showed up out of nowhere, and he's like, hey, I'll help you. But I literally would have. I mean, it's shocking. It's shocking when you get used to. So, I mean, it's the same with. I could read maps really good. I used to be able to read them good, but if you ask me how I get to places now, I'm like, I turned left where the voice told me to turn left, and turned right. Like it's when you stop using something, it definitely changes.
Yeah.
You made a comment just a few minutes ago. You said Bass was all in to forward facing sonar for 6 years. Do you think that seems weird to me, because like a Bass didn't bring forward facing sonar to the sport. The anglers did. Like how do you feel like they've changed their stance?
No, I don't. What I meant is, when it first came out and Patrick Walters was like fishing with it at Fork, and like Kioya was catching him on it, and you know, Joey Cifuentes won all those derbs. Like I feel like, when was that? 23, 22, 23, 2022, 2023?
Maybe even wherever. It doesn't. Yeah,
I'm just saying, like you know, from 2021 to 2024, that was Bass Live. This is an incredible technology. It's amazing to see what these fish are doing now. It's amazing to see that fish are out roaming in the middle of nowhere in 50 foot of water, an 8-pound largemouth just out there cruising on bait or whatever. And that was, I don't want to say like that was all Bass Live, because there was a lot of other cool moments, but I think for all of us watching, me being, you know, in the opens, like trying to get to that elite series, I'm like, man, I better put in time. I tell this story all the time. I didn't have it until 2023, when my buddy from K&K Customs was like, dude, you need to get it. And I'm like, why would I need to? He was like, you could see under docks. I'm like, why would I need to see under the dock that I'm already going to fish anyway? And he's like, well, you can see if there's a bass over on this post or over on that post or way in the back. And I'm like, I'm going to fish it all anyway, dude. And he's like, yeah, but trust me, you should get it. And this is a true story. I'm like, all right, fine. I guess I'll get it. He's like, you know what? I'll just send you one. He sends me it. We have a tournament on Oneida.
Well, I need friends like that.
I know. I have a tournament on Oneida for the Opens in 2023. Or no, 2022. Sorry, 2022. And I'm like, wow. I can see these smallmouth on the rock piles in the grass. in real time. I'm like, wow. And that's when like I really started paying attention to how guys were catching it. I'm like, this is amazing. And like from then on, it was like Bassmaster was like, this is the greatest tool ever. That was what was discussed. So I think all the young guys, all the guys that were, you know, I mean, the younger generation is just more dialed in with technology. I mean, that's just true, right?
And another generation is going to come along in 10 years and they'll be more dialed in on. That's just
correct.
How it
that's
is.
Just that's just how it goes. And so, you know, Bassmaster is just the leader in tournament bass fishing professionally, and they have the best platform, and I don't think anyone really can deny that. You know, they have all the youth is watching, whether it's in, you know, or fishing, high school Bassmaster, college. I'm sure there's some really exciting stuff coming with them, with Bass. They're always trying to innovate, right? And bring the sport to a bigger audience. And like, I think all that audience was like forward facing sonar is the deal because it's being shown on Bass Live constantly. It's being talked about constantly. This is what we need to get good at in order to compete. And then whatever, it gets taken away. It doesn't get taken away, but it gets changed, which is totally fine. But that's what I mean when I say, and they haven't changed their stance, I don't think, because when we see Bass Live, they're like, wow, this is great, right? Like, look,
it is the greatest tool in the history of the sport up to this
100%.
point. Like to whether you like it or don't, like even if you hate it, you have to admit it, it's the greatest tool we've seen to be able to see Bass Live is. But I think it's funny, and I just thought it was weird when you said that, just because I think if you tuned in right now to Bass Live recently, you'd be like, it's all about the Kyoiki, because that's our job to talk about what's happening. Like we don't really get to make that decision as coverage team. The decision is made by what's in front of you.
Yeah. No, and you're right. That's why I'm saying I don't think they changed their stance, but like you can't blame people for like,
oh no, I mean,
being incredibly like going out and like putting their time and energy into using forward facing. Like people are like, oh, well, all they do is scope. It's like, yeah, dude, because that's for the last 7 years was what we have pushed to as anglers and in coverage. Like that's what we have pushed. So of course these 14 to 22-year-olds are out there grinding with forward facing sonar. That doesn't shock me, you know?
Just like they're out there grinding with a Kyoiki right now and figuring out if you don't need to look further than Jason Christie to see how that all works. When something wins enough. I mean, Jason Christie in a 1 month period self-admittedly went from saying, I will never even own one of those to winning a tournament, you know, on it.
And that just shows how good he is, though, because I mean, seriously, that's impressive. And I was so impressed by that because even I'm like, dude, I just suck at throwing this freaking thing. But he just was like, how can I ignore this anymore? I'm going home. That's all I'm throwing. I'm getting good with it. Period. I think it's telling who, like, look at the best anglers in the world. It's funny who gets dialed in when they need to versus who shuts it out. And I think you saw that. I don't know. Do you think like, I just feel like it or not, like you got to get good with it. And like Patrick Walters, you know, Jacob Wheeler, all these guys that have been winning before forward facing were like, we need to get good with this. And they did. And it was just as simple as that. And then other guys who didn't were the complainers. So it's just funny, like especially guys that are like, I'll never, and I'm one of them. I'm like, dude, that Koiki's so stupid. It's so stupid. After Fisher and I won, I was like, dude, I'm just not throwing it. Like, I think they would have bit a minnow, whatever. And then it gets won at Santee with it. I'm like, okay. And then the MPFL gets one with it. I'm like, oh, Oh, okay. And then Pasco tank, we all knew it was going to get one. Like, I mean, everyone was making jokes. Like, literally, they just were like, "This is my practice this week," and it was like Jordan Lee posted something funny. It was like his screen and a koiki. That's all you need. And he's kind of right.
Yeah, and I think the last few events really made people wake up, because before that, I mean, to watch what Fisher did with it was amazing, but that was the cat toy phase, I think, like where you just had something you shook in front of a fish, and I mean, they're going to eat it eventually. But to see where Chris Johnson won, I mean, hosting live cast with Kyle, we had guest after guest come in and be like, "I fished that exact dock.
Me too.
I just threw different stuff," and they did. And Chris said it himself, like, if I wasn't throwing that, I was like, I mean, look at, like, he didn't even throw it to the key spots, and they were moving for it.
Dude, me and Cody Meyer were like, "What?" I was like, "Dude, I fished that stretch of docks like 5 times." He was like, "Yeah, me too. I don't even want to talk about it." I'm like, yeah, I guess it's that powerful.
Why is it so powerful?
I think, I don't know. In my opinion, it taps into the like primal innate instinct of a bass. When they're young, I think that's what they're feeding on. I'm talking about like fingerlings.
So you think it's like you're the zooplankton theory guy?
Yeah, I do. I think that, but I also think it's just such a unique profile and size and the full cast, and like it's big enough that they're like it's just, it's very slow. I'm a firm believer in stick baits, like I always have been, because of the fall rate.
Yeah.
And I think the fall rate of the koiki is like just a little bit slower than like a wacky weightless Senko. And so you can control it really well in the water. Like unlike a minnow, like when it falls, you know, you have to keep working it and reel it pretty quickly. Even on a 3/16 or an 1/8 ounce head, you have to reel it pretty quickly to keep it high in the water column above the fish's head. But with the koiki, it's so controllable. Like you can basically just hold tension on your line very slightly, not even tension, but have a bow in your line. And that thing just pretty much stays right there. And then if you want it to sink a little, you drop your rod tip and it just slowly falls. Like, and then when they see it, you could snap it and all those tentacles are like I don't know. I just think it's very unique. And I do think it taps into their primal, like feeding habits.
It does something. It does something. And the truth is, we'll never know. Everybody will have their theory, what they think it is, what they think the fish thinks it is. But ultimately, an angler doesn't care. I mean, what it does prove to me is, if I look at baits in general, it proves to me like the people that, like, ICAST is coming up in a few weeks and baits are going to get introduced. And I feel bad for anyone introducing anything other than that, because it's going to be, but when baits get introduced, am I boring you, Kyle?
No, I'm tired.
Okay, just checking. You know that guy that looks at baits and goes, "Oh yeah, they won't eat that." Or they see the action, they're like, "Oh, they're going to chew that." We don't know is the truth, because dude, if I went to you 10 years ago and I said, "Hey, I have been in Japan. I've got my hands on this little choiki. I need you to invest." Every person would have laughed me out of the room. Years before that, if I had to come to you with the original Senko and said, and that was a time where everything had crazy tails and all sorts of stuff. And I said, no, we're going to go no action. It's just going to be, the mold's going to be an actual Bic pen I'm going to mold this out of.
Yeah.
Everyone would have laughed you out of the room. But those are two of the most successful baits
ever
in the modern era.
Yeah.
So we don't know crap is what I know.
No, we have no idea.
Yeah.
But what's weird is, like, what's funny is like, think about how many baits that have looked weird that have come out in the past 5 years. It's hundreds. It's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds. And one of them has been a success in the hundreds and hundreds that have come out. So like, I can see why people are like, they're never gonna touch. Like, you literally have to just either be the person that's crazy enough to be like, I'm throwing this because it looks cool. Let's see what happens. Or you're a follower and you just know, like, you're like, oh wow, now they're biting this, I'm gonna go buy them. Because we really don't know. Like you said, like, you have to be, and that's why I think most of those crazy lures that work so well come from Japan, because they have such pressured fisheries that they're like, I just need to throw something weird or different. Whereas we can pretty much stick with, like in New York, dude, I could throw dried up pigeon poop under a dock and get one to bite it. That's the truth.
I need to go fishing with you on those docks. I know you you invited me already. I'm just we'll go fishing one of these days. The other thing you learned is you can't listen to what a bait manufacturer designs a bait to do something, and that is often not the thing. Like, Tricky was originally designed to be a topwater bait. Like, it wasn't even meant to do any of the things that it's doing. So be a smart angler and try different things with baits.
Yeah, and I think that just goes to that's the whole sport, right? Is like, you can't be afraid to do things.
Yeah.
Whether it's trying a new technology that's come out, or, fishing in a totally different way. Like, I think, and it's ironic because most anglers get so set in their ways. And I'm one of them. I mean, I'm like, why would I throw the Koike? I can throw a stick bait. I could throw the X-Zone stick bait. Ooh. And then I get smoked on Santee Cooper. I'm like, dang. And like, you just get set in your ways, but like, that's how the sport passes you by, I think.
Do you think the sport is passing some people by?
100%. And sadly, because I don't like when that happens personally. Like, some people are like, some people are like, oh man, like, we just got to get, we got to like move on. Like, it's kind of a sad thing. Like when, some of your idols are like, you're like, dude, what? Like, I haven't seen him on Bass Live and it feels like forever. I don't like that, but that's just the reality of competitive sports. That's why it was so cool when Tiger Woods came back after that injury and like won the Masters. Remember, was it 2019 maybe?
Yeah, something like
that. And everyone was like, oh my God, like blah, blah, blah. And then like, cause they kind of knew, they're like, dude, that's not happening again. Like that's it. 100% that's it. And they were right. But so that's why it's cool. Like, as much as like, I'm like, oh man, Jason Christie, like, does he really need to win again? Like, can't someone else have the dang? Like, I was like, I would have loved to see Hunter Shryock win. I really would. But I'm also like, it's kind of badass. Dude just keeps on plugging. He's not letting the sport pass him by at all. He's adjusting. And it's cool because I've grown up since I was 15 or just 10 years old watching Jason Christie. Now I'm competing against him and he's still dominating. So I'm like, that's cool. Like, I like that.
And he's not dominating the same way. No. He's dominating by doing different. I mean, the fact that he won the way he won, he self-admittedly was like, if you had told me this was going to happen, I would have said you're nuts. But like, if you look at some of the stuff Christie gets, he's the spinnerbait guy. And then that was cool to see him win with the spinnerbait earlier this year. It was awesome.
Yep.
But he's also probably won the first ever major tournament on forward facing sonar on Lake St. Clair back in the day. He's proved to be somebody who adapts and changes.
Yeah.
So sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Do you like where the sport is now with the rules the way they are? Or are we going to argue in the off season again? Like, is this going to be a perpetual?
Well, I can tell you this, like, there's going to be more. First of all, there's going to be another live scope come out in the next, probably 6 months. That's just the truth. I mean, everyone kind of knows it, but that's the truth. And so that'll cause a little bit of controversy amongst the anglers in the Elite Series. And I'm sure we'll have discussions on whether we're allowed to have it or not, or blah, blah, blah.
Do you know what it is?
I just think it's a better transducer. I think it's a better transducer with less, I'm going to say just like less connections in your boat. Like I think it'll be very streamlined. Target separation will be better. Probably a little bit easier to read on a graph and less interference, like, which frankly I'm not a fan of because I don't want it to get too easy. Forward facing sonar right now is hard. Like anyone that thinks it's not is hasn't used it enough or hasn't used it enough against enough guys that are also good with it. Like, like I get it. Like from an outside perspective, you're like, dude, he can see the fish. I get it. You're like, that's easy. It's not. It's hard. The guys are so good with it. And there's a lot to read on a graph. There's a structure that you can hardly see the fish in. When you're fishing grass, it's so hard to differentiate a little extra grass clump from a largemouth. And do you make the cast? Do you not? But that's a good thing because I mean, if Titleist came out and was like, because they have the same, I just heard, I was actually going to post it. So I was watching, I think it was the U.S. Open, and they were talking about how people are starting to complain about golf because, you can only make a golf course so long.
Yeah.
And people are getting annoyed because these guys like Titleist and Ping and all these companies are coming out with these drivers that are so light and powerful, and guys are going in the gym and lifting and getting bigger and stronger, and their rotations are getting faster, and they're hitting the ball like 430 yards. Like Bryson DeChambeau literally drove a 430 yard green. So they're like, dude, well, I mean, are we ever going to have to hit a 6-iron again or a 4-iron again? No, because you're so close to the green, you're basically taking out a whole aspect of the game. And people were going back and forth arguing about it. And I was like, it's kind of funny. It's kind of like live scope, just like, you're taking out an aspect of the game, and like people are complaining. But then other people are like, well, I just go to the gym and I put in more work and I lift and I use the technology to my advantage, blah, blah, blah. But if Ping came out with a driver that was like, dude, you can literally swing this driver that slowly and the ball goes 350 yards, that would be a problem, because then I could go out and shoot a 63, 10 under par on a course and compete with someone who's 58 years old, who maybe doesn't have the same swing speed that I can generate, but has been playing golf for 30 years and is like way better than I am. Whatever. That's just a hype. That's just a comparison. But so that if we get to the point where live scope gets too streamlined and too easy to look at a graph and understand, I'm out. I'm out on that.
So there is a line. There is a line we can cross.
Yes. And that will be, I'm curious to see when that happens, what it will look like, and I'll be the judge. I'm sure there'll be a lot of people that'll be the judge, but like I will for sure make clear my stance on that. But as far as your question goes, like that for sure will be a discussion, but I also think I like 50-50, and then I think it calms people down, and there's not been as much hate and chatter, it feels like. I don't like the inconsistency. I've been someone from day one, I was like, man, and look, it's a good compromise, it is, but like, man, I just feel like I want to know what I'm like. There is no other sport that has a situation like we do, where half the season you can use a driver and half the season you can't. That just doesn't make sense to me. Like, I need consistency. It's a sport. Every time I get on the lake, I want to be under the exact same playing the rules as before. So that's my stance on it. But I'm not saying that I'm not like happy with it in a way. Like I like to compromise for now, but I think moving forward, we have to find a way that's a little bit more consistent.
But when you say racing, that's the first example. Like they've got road courses, they've got ovals. I mean, that's totally different. You're still racing, but it's a totally different.
No, but that's just like us with lakes. We go to a river, we go to Ontario, we go to, Highland reservoirs, we go to X, Y, Z. That's the course. The course can change all you want, but the rules of the game, I don't think can change. At least tournament to tournament. Season to season, fine. Like if we had one season, it was like full live scope, one season, full not live scope. I would be like, not ideal, but like at least it's consistent across, a full year. But you don't see the racing. They go, okay, we're going to put limiters on your cars for this tournament or for this race and then not for the next.
Avco not only makes incredible outdoor clothing, but they care about anglers with their 10% pledge. Avco and the Shed family donate at least 10% of the company's profits to conservation and making fishing better. Now back to the show. I don't know enough about racing to comment on that. I think there is. Yeah, there's restrictor plate. Yeah, there totally is. There's restrictor plate races and there's non-restrictor plate races.
Yeah, but isn't that different?
You roll with the Zaldanes? Come on, get educated on this stuff.
Isn't that different leagues, though?
No. Like they have races that have restrictor plates. I don't know enough about it.
Whatever. I do know my point.
For me personally, I'm just happy that we have less bitching. But I'm also certain in one thing: we're going to have bitching. Like no matter what it is, like if forward-facing sonar is made totally illegal, there's going to be a bunch of bitching. If it's made totally illegal, there's going to that's what blows me away that we have people that are just like with the 50-50, you've got something always almost, you know what I mean? Like, and at the end of the year, like, why are you mentioning Trey McKinney earlier in this podcast? Because people are impressed because guess what? This guy that everybody thought could only do it one way, clearly has done it the other way. And at the end of the year, your angler of the year will have to be somebody who's done it both. But like
I said, I like it. Always. No, like I said, I like it. I really do. I think, it's going to take, and if we're going to, here's one thing I know for sure. Because technology isn't going away. We either keep it like this for a long time or go back to full. There's no, if this is what we're doing, then Bassmaster has to do it for an extended period of time, like 5-6 years, because there's been so many changes. That's what I don't like. Like, I don't like the constant rule changes. It makes it feel...
Who's driving the rule changes, dude? Do you think Bass wants to change rules?
It's not
Bass would just like everyone to. MLF, Bass, all of them. I can guarantee you, whether you put a genie in front of Chase or Boyd or whoever, about the only league that would be happy that forward-facing sonar was even invented is NPFL because it's given them something to set them aside and make them different.
Yeah.
It's a problem, but it's also if you go down a road of digital disturbance, it's happening in every sport. It's happening in every business, there's in the real estate world, there's a bunch of realtors going nuts because you get these young guys who have massive social followings and they just make a post and they don't really know, they don't knock on doors. They don't do the same thing that previous realtors did. And it's not right that they're selling more, but they are. So, I don't know where it ends up in the future. And to be honest, I get so tired of debating it because I don't think anybody knows. Like, I don't know what the right thing to do is. And I think it depends on who I'm standing beside and what direction I end up on it.
I was talking to Carl Jacobson and Jeff Gustafson before the Pasco tank about it. And just no, I like 50-50. I really do. And I'm like, okay, I was like, that Canadian accent, it makes me agree with you. Like, I think it's, yeah. And then Carl was like, he was all in for it. And so to see those two guys like it, because part of it is like, if everyone likes it, I guess then I'd be like, all right, like then it's just like, if everyone thinks that's the right move for the sport, I guess it is. If everyone's on board, right? If all the anglers are like, no, we like this, let's go and just keep doing this, I'm good.
All the anglers will never be like,
I know.
Like,
that's why I'm saying, like, if I mean, is that not how anything in life is? Like, if everyone's on board, then I guess that's the right move.
Yeah. And I think it's going to change in time. It's going to we once weighed in 10 fish, then we weighed in 7 fish. Now we're weighing in 5 fish. And you tell some people we weighed in 7 fish at one time and they look at you like you have 3 heads and no idea that was part of, they once kept every single fish. Like it's going to change. We'll see what's changed. Speaking of change, you got a lot of changes happening in your life. Getting married. How's that going?
Oh yeah, it's been a stressful year. I'm building. I'm building.
That's not a very romantic response to that.
No,
okay?
The marriage thing's good. I mean, planning the wedding, I haven't really done anything, but like Caroline's been a little bit stressed out about it, and because it's stressful. You're like trying to figure out all the invite stuff, catering, like all this stuff, while we're trying to build this barn dominium, which has proven to be a challenge just because of, all the logistics. We don't have a general contractor. So like we've been just getting at it on all fronts of life, but I am thrilled to get married. I never thought I'd get married. I never thought someone would like me enough to want to spend the rest of their life with me.
I figured someone would like you, but a long-term commitment like that?
Right, exactly.
Especially from an educated person like she is.
I know. It's so special.
Building a house, but you got the Amish building it, so it'll be built well.
It'll be built well, yes. I send out, I go up there and I try to do as much as I can to help, but I really have no value to them. They're like, get lost. You don't know how to build anything. I'm like, yeah, okay, fair enough. It's gonna be cool, and it's fully a pull through. So when I get up, like I go around the corner and like I pull my boat and truck all the way in, and I've got like fans to dry off my deck when I pull in, and like a big gold, like the classic peg or not, it's like slat wall all the way down with like lures, and it's my dream shop. So I'm very excited about it. Heated floors, because you got to have heat here in the winter. It's going to be a pretty neat place to have. Finally, I'll have my own, home to be in, which is a big deal these days because Jesus, things are expensive. Like it is so hard to, like, I've been realizing like, you're like, oh, we need to order doors. It's like, okay, yeah, shouldn't be too bad. It ends up being like 10 grand. And you're
doors
like,
are ridiculous.
You're like, what? Like my garage doors, I'm not even going to say the number because it's embarrassing. Like my garage doors, it's embarrassing. It really is. I'm like, no wonder like homeowners are like the average age of a homeowner now, I think it's like, do I say 40? I feel like I saw somewhere something crazy.
Wow.
In the US.
I'm sure it's no different here. Trust me, we have our own problems. One other thing I've always wondered about you, when you think back to school, what did teachers write about you in your report card?
Oh God, I got so many. They're like, he has so much potential if he would just set his mind to learning the material, and his energy just needs to be channeled. And maybe some Vyvanse would do him good. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, I can see that. I got a lot of Dave needs to pay more attention and be quieter and things like that.
Yeah.
But literally,
I feel like
it's
if
how I make my living.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. Like, it's kind of crazy that, like, looking back, it's funny what a teacher says and like what your grades say about you. Like, there are so many people that I know that are so successful that literally just didn't do school at all.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so I was always like, I just feel like school's not it for me.
For not for everybody, it truly isn't. And some people, it depends what you're doing. I mean, if you're going to be a doctor, I'd like you to go to school. At least show me you could go to school for a while, because I feel like if me and you were operating on people, we get distracted in the middle of it.
I'd get distracted by me hitting the artery and killing it. I'd be like this. Is this good?
Do you think that ability to be? Do you think that has helped your fishing or hurt your fishing? The distraction, like the fact that a squirrel goes by and you're because that makes you open to more things, but it also maybe makes it harder to focus on things.
Yeah. So no, I actually think it's helped, because when it comes to things that I really like to do, I get very hyper focused on them. And then that little bit of distraction, I think, helps me lead into different patterns on the water. Like, if you're too locked in on one thing and you don't never are noticing things, and like Greg Hackney is always looking at other deals on the water. I've noticed, like, when he's flipping cypress knees or something, and he sees like a little shad spawn deal out in front of him. He's like, oh, I picked some spinnerbait, throws it in there. Like, stuff like that. I think it's helped me. I think what's hurt my fishing is how jacked up I get, and I shake, and I can hardly tie a knot after I land a 4-pounder. Like, if I could just like settle down a little bit in the moment and like be more precise. Like, Jason Christie's always been good at that for me. Like, he's very cool, calm, and collected in the moment of big moments. He stays really calm, and I just can't do it. I can't. I could maybe, but like, it's so hard for me because I get so excited. Like, I looked at the post I made the other day, and people are like, "There's just no way. Like, he's faking it." I'm like, that's fine. I mean, you don't know me, but that's fine. Like, because I come across as so excited that people think it's fake. But if people know, if they've seen me just in public, they'd be like, oh, no, it's not like I had and then a bunch of people commented, they were like, no, you don't understand. You don't understand. And they're like, what? How is that even possible? It was kind of funny.
I'll be honest. When I first met you, I thought it was fake. I thought it was like, no, I mean, I didn't look at you like, I think people on social media watch a video and their instant reaction in a lot of ways is like, how can I bitch about this? So I wasn't looking at it through those eyes, right. But I'm just like, hey, there's no way he can be this wired at all times. But now I've spent enough time with you at all hours of the night and day that I know you're just a spaz. Like, it's just who you are.
Right.
And I think if anything, what we're seeing now is you just giving more out because you're just like, screw it, I'm going to be me.
Yeah, 1,000%, 100%. Like, it started off in the sunscreen thing's funny. It started off in Florida because I was down there for dual threat, and I had just come out from the Heart thing, that stupid fishing league that scammed everyone. Yeah, I was in that tournament, and I'm like, dude, I hate wearing a buff, and like, my dermatologist was kind of like, you really should start wearing sunscreen because you have like precancerous like things on your like lip. And I'm like, oh God, perfect. This was right after the heart thing. So I'm like, oh, perfect. This is just like, let's get skin cancer right now. That would just be icing on the cake. And so when I went there, I put it on there and it went nuts. Like it went, and I only do that because I used to do it when I was surf. I would surf and it's normal to have like zinc on your face. So I'm like, I'm just going to put it on. And people were like, this guy's an idiot. And I'm like, perfect. I want you to think I'm an idiot. And it just kind of went from there, and just being stupid. Yeah. Leaned into it.
Well, I mean, your skin's protected, right?
It is. And I had a company send me zinc that's brown. So not like brown.
Be careful. Be very careful.
It's skin
That's all
colored.
my advice.
It's skin colored. So it won't pop. It's not like white, like all over it. I'm just saying. Look, all I'm saying is Sun Zapper sent me a big box full of different colored suntan or zinc.
So are you going to get Sun Zapper as a sponsor?
Yeah, that's the goal.
Yeah. I mean, you've shown the commitment to it.
Yeah.
What's the craziest thing you've ever done to catch a fish? Whether it be an Elite Series event, whether it be as a child, like when you look back and somebody says, "Hey, Patrick, how much do you love to catch fish?" What is the craziest thing you've ever done?
Oh man, that's a good question. I used to, back in the day in Cooperstown, we have this drain, and it runs from, it's in town, like big baseball town. So there's these giant baseball stadiums, and there's this drain that is like probably 6 feet in height from where the water's flowing to the top. And I used to jump down with my Zebco, and I would walk from basically the start of the drain all the way in the drain, all the way
tunnel.
through. What?
Like in a tunnel, basically.
Yes. Like I'm in the drain. And by the way, my mom freaked out because sometimes there's beaver dam breaks and the whole thing just fills with water and rushes out. And I would, I would walk through the drain all the way. And there was this in between, like the drain this was in the woods and you couldn't really get to it anywhere else. So I'd walk through the drain, and the drain would dump out into this pond, like little pond deal. And there was like, some smallmouth, some brook trout. I would fish there or whatever. And that's just what came to mind. I would catch them like all by myself there. Like that, some of the best moments in fishing, aside from tournaments, is just like you're by yourself in a weird place that you would never go to unless you were either fishing or I guess like shooting up some heroin or something. Like there's only two reasons that you would be under an overpass on the highway in some remote location, and you're all by yourself and you're just peacefully fishing.
Yeah.
I need to get back to doing that some more.
Anglers have the same commitment as a drug addict, is what you're saying.
That's exactly right. Yep.
But I do think you hit on something. Like, I think the discovery is the magic of fishing. Like, to me, that, figuring it out. Like, it's cool to go with your buddy and he says, "Hey, we're going to go to, I'm hammering him off this point. Let's go out tomorrow night," and you catch him and it's fun. But the real magic is figuring it out, or going, like when you're a kid, going somewhere like that. Like, we don't recommend you go in storm drains. But you know what I mean? Like, I think of, like, my childhood, like, just I'd leave in the morning on my bike with a rod, and I would not come back. Like, I'd leave in the dark and come back in the dark, and and every day was full of like adventures, and that's I think that's what fishing. And I even think of my addiction to swimming with the fish. That's you never know what you're going to see, or like if you just go to the same place over and over again, it gets kind of routine. But it's the adventure, the figuring things out that is fun. It's the world's biggest game of hide and seek.
It is. And like
Wow.
some like other times, like bringing a fish, diving in after fish, some like club, you're just fishing with your buddies. Like we have some buddy tournaments and like there's no rules. It's like 5 boats, you know what I mean? So like you set the hook and like it wraps you like around the dock post and it's sitting in a weed clump and you can feel it just shaking. You can't get it out. So you're just like, you dive down there and you grab the line and you're like, oh, got him. And you come swimming up. Like that's just fun. Like I think that in the next 2 to 3 years, Bassmaster needs to figure out a way for like an uncuffed fishing tournament. Like totally like, I don't want to say no rules because but I want to be able to do crazy stuff. Like I want to be able to watch people say what you want about Keith Poche. Watching him do what he did brings
it's awesome.
back it's amazing.
It's aquatic Dukes of Hazzard.
It is amazing. We need that. I need to see more of that. Like I want to see a beaver dam get jumped. I want to see someone dive in, have to swim down 10 foot to get their drop shot that's in a fish and then grab the fish and swim up. Like that's the type of stuff that I think would make for a really good, like 1 hour segment, media deal.
I agree to a certain extent. Like, I mean, I think long before the internet, Randy Blockett sinking his boat to get under a bridge. All of that is awesome to me.
So cool.
I think that the weird thing is with fishing is it's in a different time where it's got so many eyeballs, and especially young people. Like I know, like MLF allows you to jump in the water and chase down your thing. And I remember sitting with Tripp the first time we saw that happen, and Tripp's like, "Oh, this is not good." And I initially I'm like, "This is awesome." But Tripp's like, yeah, now we're going to have kids thinking it's cool to just like go down there and your shirt gets hung up on that hook and you drowned. There's the weird element of, but I agree with you. I mean, so what the all out tour we're going to have, the pirate, like, are you physically able to jump on a man's boat and steal from his live well? Like, what are the limits?
Yeah. Like, I don't know. I guess what I mean is like, I just want something different. Like say what you want about MLF. I loved their original deal.
Oh,
which was
so good.
Everyone got his,
everybody loved that.
It was either a 918 or an 819 Phoenix or a Z7, whatever the equivalent with the 150 on it. And they would just go and do their thing and compete and like be mic'd up or whatever. I don't think they were at that time, but that should be what happens in the future. That would be a really cool format to mix in to we have time off. Like, yes, we have ICAST, we have trade shows, we have stuff to do, but like, if I think that there could really be some cool, tournaments like that sprinkled in throughout the year, like even in the fall, maybe, or, in the summer we have off, some summer little off time we have. Like, I think that needs to happen.
Yeah,
for sure.
I'm all for it. I think here's what we need to do, though. We need to stop arguing about forward-facing sonar and frivolous crap like that.
Yep.
Put that energy towards paybacks and making creative events, and ultimately creative events help the payback. Like, you know what I mean? Like, look at what Tuesday Night Live did. I think Tuesday Night Live was one of the coolest things. It was a 3-hour fun, you know what I mean? Like, it was just such a different vibe. And the amount, like, in a world where everybody has something negative to say, nobody said crap negative about that. It was just a fun. It was what fishing is. Yeah. So I'm all here for it. I'm here for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Creative stuff. Let's make that happen. Let's get real creative right now. If you could be born at any other time, any other era, not just in bass fishing, but in humanity, like, is this the best time for Kyle Patrick to exist? Or should you have maybe existed at a different time? And if so, what time would that be?
Wow. That's a good question, Dave. I feel like, how old am I? I
You're
feel
29.
like I would have liked, 29.
You turned it yesterday.
Yeah. I feel like I would have liked 10 years earlier. 10 years. So 97, 87.
Born in 87.
87. And I'll tell you why. I think, and this could be said about any time period, obviously, but like, I just feel like there was a ton of innovation happening, the internet, all these things going on. Bass fishing 10 years ago, if I was where I was at now, I would have a mansion. I also like, I don't know. I feel like 10 years ago, I don't know. That's a hard question, Dave. I think 10 years ago, that's my answer. Just because felt like there was so much innovation happening, but there is now. So that's kind of a,
Yeah.
The sport of bass fishing, the real reason I say that is like, it felt like it was the purest time in the sport. But that's coming from a place of me being young, excited, and watching those guys, like the 2019 Cayuga Lake, 2014 when KVD won there, whatever. Like in like that time period, I would have loved to be a part of.
Yeah.
But that's coming from the fan in me.
Yeah.
It's everyone always is like, oh, the glory days, back in the 70s. It's like, I feel like I was so new and like fresh learning about this sport, like every aspect of it that makes that time frame special, that like 10 years, that 5 to 10 years anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's natural, though. I think it's natural to look at a time that when you were just a fan of the sport. I mean, you're just learning about it. So, I get that. So you want to be Brandon Palnick is what you're saying. Because I think he was born in like 87.
Yeah.
Let me look that up. Let me see if
by the way, just side note, the median age of a first-time homebuyer is 40 years old.
So you'd be ready to buy a house. So you're way ahead of the game.
Yeah.
You'd just be getting ready to buy a house.
Yep.
That's crazy. That is crazy. Everything's way too expensive is the truth.
That is the truth. I mean, is that not crazy? It says the median specifically, if you were looking at the New York State specifically, the median age of homeowners is even higher, reaching nearly 59.
You're supposed to be selling, like getting out.
I know.
That's messed up.
It is messed up.
New York State's a very expensive state to live in, though.
It is. It really is. It's, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's so beautiful.
It is. It's a beautiful state. It's a shocking state because everybody visualizes New York State as Manhattan, and it's so different. It's so different. Who did I say that to? We were on Bass Live and they said something about New York. And I said, New York's a beautiful state. And they said, no, Manhattan. I'm like, that's like literally saying to somebody that Georgia is Atlanta.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot more of Georgia that does not look anything like Atlanta. So, yeah. So, well, I'm sorry your parents didn't have sex till 10 years later.
No, that's okay. I mean, look,
Come on, Dad. Would it have killed you to?
Yeah, Jesus. I will say I do like where we're at today. I really do. I think there's a lot of cool things happening. I think we're at a turning point in the sport of fishing, truthfully. I think we're going to look back in 10 years and be like, I'm so happy everything happened the way it did. Because we're here now, and wherever that is, I don't know. But I have some hope. I'm pretty excited about it. Like, I think there's, like you said, so many eyeballs. And I'm sorry, I'm changing the subject a little bit because that's just my ADHD.
Oh, it's fine.
But like, so many eyeballs are watching the sport. It's incredible. Like, say what you want about people are like, oh, those numbers. The numbers aren't right. It's like, I mean, they have to be sort of right. They can't just be
from
made up.
Nielsen. I mean, those numbers are from Nielsen ratings. Like, that's 6.5 at the Classic. Say what you want, but they're from Nielsen. So if you don't believe those numbers, then you don't believe the Super Bowl numbers or anything else that's out there.
No one believes anything.
Well, that is the truth. Nothing's true.
There's fraud. There's fraud. This whole world's fraud. It's like, okay, whatever. You guys, you go back.
It may be.
I'm not going to talk about this on air. Anyway, yeah, like there's just so many eyeballs and so much happening. I feel like we're compressing, and it's going to explode at some point into something really, really great. And I don't know whether that's I'm pretty confident it's going to be Bassmaster, but like, who knows? Like, something's going to happen because, like you said, there's so many people watching. There's too much demand for fishing in general that the person that taps into that in the best way it's gonna be huge.
I've run a Yamaha outboard for over 30 years. It has got me home safe each and every time. If you enjoy this podcast, remember, Yamaha supports it and they care enough about you to make this ad read very short. Now back to the show. My hope is that I don't know where the sport is in 10 years. I don't know that I would have thought it was. I mean, I just think that that's pie in the sky thing. But my hope is that we all start to appreciate what we have.
I would agree with you.
I hope we all get to the point that it's not about a certain league. It's not about a certain way of fishing. It's that, I mean, growing up, if I was on my school bus and I saw we passed a river where someone was fishing, that was an angler. That was somebody who was like me. If you went to a Christmas party and you met somebody that fishes, they might not bass fish, they might fly fish, they might do whatever, but they're an angler. And it feels like right now there's so much division, especially in bass fishing. Like,
yeah.
Do you love bass fishing? Yeah, but are you one of those forward-facing sonar guys? Do you like bass? Yeah, I like bass. Well, you have to hate MLF. Or do you like MLF? You have to hate bass or NPFL or what? Dude, I love I love bass fishing. And and I came from a time, I'm old enough that I can say I came from a time when I couldn't get enough of it. Like, the reason I watched all those VHS tapes over and over again is because guess what? There was no more. And now we live in a time, in a short period of time, we live in a time where, dude, if me and you said tomorrow we want to watch everything bass fishing that came out in YouTube this week, we could not do it within a week. Like,
no, it's crazy, dude. Oh my God.
I mean, there's 738 different videos that'll show you the best way to rig a kyoiki.
And honestly, all of them will be slightly different.
Yeah, they will be. There's some cool stuff coming. I know there's some cool stuff coming. And I think with that, it's cool to watch that evolve right in front of our very eyes. Like, just see how people, the way we fish it now might be totally different in 5 years. Maybe we won't fish it at all. Who knows? Will I still be slapping you when we get to?
Yep.
That's certain. That we can count on.
Yep.
So you're showing up at Champlain for a slapping.
we need to get Pat Schlapper over. And
the best part was when Joey Cifuentes said, "Oh, you slapped him and it worked. You got to slap me." You were so protective. Like, immediately you're like, no. He slaps me. Only me.
No. Bad. Yeah, that's bad juju. And Joey should know better, honestly.
It shows how crazy tournament anglers are.
I know. He's like, well, I want to catch him.
So let's say you have a great tournament at Champlain. Keep catching them. By the time we get to the St. Lawrence River, I mean,
I'm gonna have I'm gonna have to wear one of those boxer helmets.
It's what I do for you. I don't mind. I'll slap a human to help him out.
Okay, thanks. Well, that's the whole thing. Is it's not out of anger or trying to hurt. It's simply you're trying to help,
dude. It's no different than people watching this show. I'm sure you've seen someone on the internet and said, "I'd like to slap that human." I'm just lucky that I work in a line of work,
yes,
where I saw said human and got to do it, and it worked. So keep catching them. I'm a lot more relaxed at work after I slap a human.
I bet that's
nice. Thanks. I've enjoyed this conversation.
Me too.
Hey, how did you avoid baseball? Growing up in Cooperstown, you played soccer, but how did you avoid? Is there so much baseball that you're like, yeah, I'm not doing that?
Yeah. It's one of those things. It's like, dude, I just can't. I don't think. I think I've walked in the Baseball Hall of Fame once, maybe my whole life, and people come here and they're like, "Oh my God, it's the Baseball Hall of Fame!" Like, just had this. I mean, they do a good job with it, but it's like there's like a bunch of 12-year-old boys walking all over the place because there's that giant tournament here, and they're like running all over the streets, and it's just like, I hate baseball.
Yeah.
Like, that's just how it is here,
It's like every tourist town. You got to hate the tourists until they stop coming. Then you're like, we missed the tourists.
Come back.
How about that World Cup? Are you that into soccer that you're still watching it, or your playing days are behind you and you've exited?
Yeah, man, I haven't been keeping up really. I have no idea what's going on.
Yeah. I've been into it. I mean, well, really? A lot of it's been played in Toronto. My son's a big soccer guy. Yeah. A lot of it's been played in Toronto, so it's been cool to see that.
That is cool.
It's cool to see that the world can get along. Like, there's no protest. Nobody's
I've followed more of the shenanigans around the World Cup, like when all the Scots came to Boston and just ripped it apart and drank like fish. I was like, oh, that's cool. Like,
could you imagine how many little redhead children are going to be born in Scotland? Boston's going to have, like they say, redheads are going extinct. They just inserted literally inserted a major, a major. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be a lot of little Scottish kids. In Boston, Scotland definitely, they lost the World Cup, but I feel they won. They had a good time.
They put on a show for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Me and you have been those guys at times.
Yeah.
Late at night.
Yep.
Yeah.
Eating hamburgers in the lobby.
Well, why did DoorDash take so long?
Oh my God. No, that was rude. That was rude, actually. I'm going to file a complaint.
You really should. Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Kyle Patrick. And yes, he is that guy. Thank you, dude. There you have it, the one and only Kyle Patrick. And I told you, Fruit Bat was a apt nickname for him because he is all over the place. But a great dude, a great heart, and ultimately, I think we all need to remember that we're all just one bad thing happening away from our life totally changing. And that's why I urge you to get out, enjoy life, enjoy fishing, and enjoy being. There's a lot of crazy things that happen in the world, and very few of them happen when you're fishing. I mean, that's the release. That's for all of us listening to this podcast, that's the moment that you get away from all of the real stress in the world. So get out there, get fishing, and enjoy it. But speaking of if crazy things do happen to you when you're fishing, AFCO just started something, Anglers Anonymous, a hotline you can call. And this is going to be fun. 1443 any fish. That's right. Put it in. It's 1443 any fish. Make your message less than a minute. Tell them a crazy thing that happened on the water, and you might get featured on their social media. It's a pretty cool, fun campaign. Once again, 1443 any fish, and it is Anglers Anonymous. So this is your opportunity to talk about what happened with you. And hey, if you're a viewer of this podcast, maybe if they pick it up, maybe we'll play it on here. Who knows? This wasn't really planned out. I just saw their alert came over my social media, and I thought I'd pass it on to you guys. But thank you all for watching. I will remind you, everybody is fighting a battle. Just because you can't see it doesn't mean it's not happening. Get out there in the world, spread happiness, spread kindness, and let's all make the world a better place, because it doesn't happen with one action. It doesn't happen with one thing, but each one of those makes things a little bit better. And you can truly change somebody's day by just being kind. So humpers, do me a favor, get out there and do that. And hey, if you're really feeling kind, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, do all those things that help stroke the algorithm and keep the grow going on this podcast. I thank you for watching. Have a great week. Enjoy being. And as always, Bob Cobb, take it away.
Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe, because Bob Cobb of the Bassmasters told you to. You hear?